forget to like, share, and subscribe. If y'all don't pick my sign up.
Guess what? I got to share with me and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. And hit that one bell.
Subscribe. Say subscribe to Psychology Eats.
Subscribe to Cowboy Eats.
Not Cowboy. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Psychology Eats. So what's eating you? Hello, everyone. If this is your first time visiting my channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I am a reaction channel. I'm a commentary channel. And I dabble in a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And so in today's video, let me tell you the backstory because you may not know this, but I study psychology. I am a professor of psychology, and I am also 30 years as a psychotherapist. And so when it comes to human behavior, I study it. I even before I earned all of my degrees in psychology and human development, as a child, I was always interested in the way people think and the way they behave. And I was always analyzing that about people around me, people on TV, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, you read the title. Here's my commentary on the Alabama violence that occurred on the dock. So I know a lot of people are making a lot of jokes about it, and I've made a couple of myself in some short form videos. And it's become this whole racial, historic, 500 years ago on that same dock, the slaves they weren't slaves. They were Africans brought to the Americas and enslaved. And so there is a lot of history with that dock and on that waterfront, okay? And so when I initially saw the footage of the violence that started as a result of a white guy attacking a black man who now we know was the riverboat co-captain. We thought he was the security guard. Apparently he was the co-captain. Now, I don't know how he got off the boat. If he was the co-captain, the boat wasn't docked where it was supposed to be docked. I don't know if he had enough room at the other end of the dock and he got off and then he tried to tell them to move. Okay, we all know that part. But when you look at gender, now I'm going to go back a little bit and get a little scientific. Okay, so we know that gender, there are two genders. Argue with your mama. There are two genders, male and female. The male has a chromosome of X and Y. Female is XX. Now, on that Y chromosome, there is a marker of aggression. Men are aggressive, physically aggressive. Women can be more verbal aggression, but men are physically aggressive. So then when you see this attack of the riverboat co-captain, and his response was to fight back. You know, we have this fight or flight response when we are in a stressful situation. And he chose to stand his ground and to fight. And it was at the time when he knew he was, you know, they were ganging him because these white guys ganged him, viciously ganged him, and the women, the white women, viciously ganged him. He attempted to flee the situation. which was his way of, I need to survive this. These people are trying to kill me. And so when you look at, and then, other men came in to his aid, to assist him, and the violence continued. The aggression continued. And at that point, it was just, and then you have your bystanders. You had a lot of bystanders. And normally, and what happens statistically, is when there is some sort of fight or even a sexual assault or something along those lines, bystanders would tend to just watch. They will just watch. But in this situation, and you got to think about, out of all the bystanders that were there, one guy initially came to the aid of the riverboat co-captain. So that research really, when I watched that, I'm like, look at all the bystanders. Initially, they didn't help him, but eventually there were more people that came to his aid. And the more people that came to his aid was really the people that knew him, was his co-workers, that came to his aid, and other people that were around the dock area, because they could clearly see that he was outnumbered. And so then there's been this dialogue of commentary of people, black people like, yay, y'all did it, y'all, like, woohoo, and for the sake of that co-captain, absolutely, he needed help in that moment. But when we break down, even when we look at the white guy that initially was the aggressor and hit the co-captain, and when you break down his behavior in that moment, it was the lack of, he had no respect for this guy, this black co-captain that had the authority to tell him to move that boat. And when we could go back and look at, who is this guy? And a lot of that whole family is being broken in down, right? Where they work, what they do, all of that, as they should be dealt with in that way. Because, we want to, I think as, as a psychologist, psychiatrist, and in our field, we look at human behavior. We look at the why. Why did they react that way? What was going on in their mind? Some people are reporting that they were intoxicated. The intoxication doesn't give you an excuse. It really just gives you, it gives you, like you get, like they say, like these muscles that you really don't have. It gives you confidence that you really don't have. And so, and that's not an excuse for what their behavior was. It was uncalled for. It was like their resistance to someone that was in a position of power. Now, would they had handled it the same way, the white family, if that security guard, not security guard, co-captain, whatever, if he was white, would they have cooperated? So, in conclusion, men are violent. Men have a violent tendency. We've seen it throughout history. It doesn't surprise me that that this whole thing erupted the way it did. Did it have a racist undertone or overtone? Possibly, maybe, probably, right? Which is why a lot of black folks are reacting and responding in this way. It's like you take yourself back to 500 years when Africans were brought to that very dock. Not that dock, obviously, has been rebuilt, but brought back to that waters They were on that water in those boats and brought to that space. And at that moment in that time, they were violently dealt with, beat, um, raped. They were separated. If a African woman had 3 children with her, she went to Virginia. One kid went to North Carolina. The other one went to Alabama, stayed in Alabama. The other one was sent to North America, wherever, North Carolina. You know what I mean. So, and all of the trauma that took place in that space, it was like the eruption of that. You know, if you want to look at it in that way. And I think that's why people responded in a way of, I mean, I don't condone violence at all, right? But I understand like the undertones of why they responded in that way, and why in my life I responded and chose violence, right? And why we do that, it's self preservation, you know, it's emotions, it's a lot of things. So I said all that to say, men are aggressive. We know that, and that is, and most of the reason why that all imploded and exploded the way it did. And yes, I did see the women involved in it too, but usually you won't see women start aggression, a big explosion in that way. I'm gonna end this video now because I don't forgot the direction I'm talking in. And with that being said, have a very, very non-violent day. Bye, guys. Hey guys, I am so super excited to be a TEMU influencer. I just got my package, so we're going to go through and all the things that TEMU sent me. So don't forget to go over there and order some of this great stuff. Hi guys, don't forget to check out Aisha Denise Shades and Readers. They have new selections all the time. And if you put in the promo code Psychology Eats, you get 15% off your order. Thanks guys.